There's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree.
Hey, what's going on, guys? So I've had this Eotech EFLX for about 7-8 months now. When I got this, I put it on my Glock 19X and I started shooting it. I was gonna do this video a long time ago, but then I got injured and it kind of took me off the range for about 3-4 months. But now we're back and I'm ready to do this video for you guys on my thoughts on the EFLX itself. We'll talk about some of the features and stuff that Eotech has stated on their packaging. And then I'll give you kind of my thoughts on it. But before we do that, we'll just kind of show it to you guys really quick. So this is an LED. This is an LED optic. It's not holographic or anything like that. Obviously, open emitter. This particular one is a 6 MOA, which I'm not a big fan of, but you can get like the 3 MOA. And most of my red dots are 3 1/4 MOA. This one is a 6 MOA, so I'm not fond of that size of the dot. But it is what it is. I'm gonna shoot it regardless. I personally don't really see a difference for daily application between a 6 MOA and a 3 MOA, but we'll kind of get into that. So I'm just gonna go off the packaging here and what it says, and then I'll kind of give my 2 cents on each one of these, right? So Eotech says that this is an extremely fast target acquisition sighting system, which they're right. I think that it is extremely fast. Like most red dots, depending on how high it kind of sits on your gun and your presentation, obviously you need to get some dry fire with that so that you can kind of get used to that presentation and picking up that red dot on presentation without having to sit there and search for it or even use your iron sights to kind of walk you into it. But for a newer shooter that isn't used to red dots, I always recommend using your iron sights to walk you into your red dot. And what that does is it helps you kind of build that muscle memory. So as you're kind of aligning your irons on your presentation, it'll kind of naturally walk you into that dot. And so once you kind of get used to finding that dot with that motor skill mechanic, then you can let go of the iron sights and just go straight to that dot, right, every time. So I do like that. They say awareness, 2 eyes open, engagement reduces blind spots. Well, yes, they're right. I never recommend shooting a red dot or even shooting your irons with with one eye closed. I always recommend both eyes open, really just due to situational awareness. There isn't really an application for you to close one eye just to pick up your irons or pick up your red dot. If you think about it from a situational awareness / tactics kind of point of view, then keeping that one eye open opens up your field of view for that extra 30 to 40% of angle from your field of view, right? So if I close that, here I can't see my hand, right? I can see my hand all the way here, 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 and now it's starting to disappear. I can still kind of see it moving, but if I close one eye, I don't see that, I don't see that, I don't see that, I don't see that until here. Now I can see my fingertips and my palm. So I've lost this much of my field of view if I keep both, or close one eye, that is, right? So always shoot with both eyes open, guys. It may take some getting used to for you newer shooters. You experienced shooters know what I'm talking about. That needs to be the way you guys shoot. Both eyes open, okay? Durability, rugged aluminum housing and glass lens. Yeah, so it is obviously rugged aluminum housing. The glass lens, not sure. There is some kind of film on here that supposedly protects it from scratches and like sun glare and light glares. But I haven't really seen any kind of glares with this optic yet. If you guys have, please, let me know in the comments below. But for the most part, it's a solid looking sight. Now, if I were to drop this onto the ground, onto the dirt ground, I don't think there's gonna be a lot of damage. If I drop it onto a concrete ground once, maybe even twice, you may get some dings and stuff on that upper housing area, but I don't think it's gonna be enough to crack that glass or damage this thing beyond repair. So, but again, here, stateside application, the most we'll do with this as far as damage goes is maybe ding it on something or it'll rub up on something, or if we're on the ground shooting, stuff like that, kind of normal wear and tear really, versus a kind of dramatic or catastrophic kind of damage to the frame itself. So I love how they name these little categories. Stealth includes 1 night vision compatible setting. So Eotech says that this has 1 night vision compatible setting, but when I was messing with the brightness settings on this, I saw that the first, well, except for the one that they have designated to night vision, I think that the 2 brighter ones beyond that, so like, let's just call them 1 is for the night vision, 2 is the next brighter, 3 is brighter, brighter, brighter. I think that all the way up to 3 can be used for night vision under nods, just depending on the user preference. Like some of us want a brighter floating dot when we're under nods. Some of us want a dimmer one. Lighting conditions may affect how bright you want that dot. Also, your nods and the quality of your tubes may affect how bright you want that dot. So although there is one designated night vision brightness setting, I personally think that there could be 3, maybe even 4, depending on what you guys want to, what you guys like for your brightness under nods. So flexible says offers auto shut off or always on options. So yes, you can program this for an auto shut off after 12 hours, which honestly is not a bad kind of time window. If you think about it, like you wake up in the morning and you turn this on and you have it on you all day throughout the day. By the time you probably get home 12 hours later or so, this thing is ready to turn off, which makes sense, right? Like unless this is my home defense gun, I don't want this thing to be on constantly because again, just gonna drain battery. As far as battery life goes, you got 25,000 hours for a 3 MOA at the brightness 5, which is the brightest. So with a 6 MOA, they're giving you 20,000 hours. So you're losing 5,000 hours of battery life, which honestly is not a big deal. Going into the operation, really it says, like it says, it's an LED optic. It's not holographic or anything like that. Magnification is 1. So I've noticed that when I present this onto items, onto objects, there is that little bit of 1 magnification, which I personally don't mind having a little bit of 1 magnification. That really doesn't do anything to me or really affect me in a negative way. And again, it's not a big deal. So 1 magnification, I'm okay with that. Eye relief is unlimited. I suppose what they mean by eye relief is unlimited is that you could probably use this on a rifle, whether it's offset, whether it's your secondary aiming system, you know, if your first one's an LPVO or something like that, or if you have like an AK or something where the optic mounts far forward, you're really not going to lose any of your eye relief, whether it's right here in front of your face or if it's way out there by the gas block or whatever down the rail on your rifle. So really there's no eye relief issues there, but I think that's their thought process behind that. Adjustment range per click, approximately 1 MOA. So it is a 1 MOA adjustable optic, meaning that every click on the windage and the elevation is going to be approximately 1 MOA. I'm going to zero this today at 25 meters. I like to zero all my optics, at least my pistol optics, at 25 meters. Because again, I like the hold off distance from 25 meters to 5 meters versus a 5 meter zero or 10 meter zero and then a 25 meter hold off. But that's a video that you guys can check out on the channel. That should be a couple videos back. So as far as the footprint goes, it has the same footprint as a Delta Point Pro, which is cool. Like we don't want some proprietary footprint because that just means we have to take and get a machine somewhere and they may not know what that means as far as their CAD systems go. So to use a Delta Point Pro footprint I'm happy with that because a lot of places that you can take this and get it machined or cut has that CAD program for the Delta Point Pro. So that's all good in my eyes. The optical surfaces, it does say again anti-reflective coating on the glass. Again, I haven't really seen like really bad sun glares or anything like that when I was aiming through it. So the window dimensions are approximately the same as, not the dimensions, but the aspect ratio is pretty much the same as an Eotech. So if you guys own an Eotech, and you can see that this window, the aspect ratio of this window is the same as an Eotech, which I like, right? And there's also not a lot of obstruction around the housing, which I love. So I can see the dot, I can get all that, and I can see around the optic just fine without obstructing my view. So earlier I said that number 5 was the brightest it goes. That's actually not true. Under the brightness settings, you have 9 total settings. So you have 7 daytime settings, and then plus 1 extra bright, which I guess is just like the brightest one, number 8. But then you also have that NVG setting or that night vision setting. Auto shut off, again, 12 hours, or you can turn it off so it's just on constantly. And then just a CR2032 for a battery. So those are the features and characteristics of this EFLX. As you can see, it has the up and down button for brightness. Sorry if that's kind of hard to see. There you go. You have that up and down button for brightness. If you hit them both, it turns on. If you hit them both, it turns off. And as far as the programming goes, I'm sure it's in the instruction booklet. I haven't really messed with it. I'm okay with that 12-hour shutoff, that how it comes by default. And of course, you have your elevation and windage knobs. You have your elevation and windage knobs right there. The tools that it comes with, which I particularly like, is one, you get like a cover for the EFLX. So again, it doesn't get dinged up or scratched up when you're kind of just throwing it around. It comes with a little hex screw or a star screw for the screws that mount. And then it also comes with this cool little tool right here, which you can open up the battery housing with this. And then you can also adjust your windage and elevation with this little tool right here. So I like that they offered that, so I'm not sitting there kind of messing with my tools trying to figure out which one is the best one for it. Now, one thing with the battery housing on this, guys, I'm not a fan of this. I know why they do it. I know why most manufacturers do it. But the battery housing on this guy, so the battery housing on this guy is really sitting right here. And what I don't like about it is, I mean, it's easy to take on and put on, or excuse me, take off and put on. But that little gas ring, I'm over here talking like this is an AR. The little rubber ring, if I can get this. Okay, so let me take this off without losing the battery. So I don't know if you guys can see this little rubber ring right here. There it is. So that little rubber ring goes in its little lane right here. And I get why they do that, right? Because they do that so that you can get a good seal and not have to worry about moisture or water or anything like that getting in there. But what I don't like about that little rubber is that when you're putting this cap back on, that little rubber piece, it doesn't thread. Like, so the threading is really tight. The tolerances for the threading is really tight on this. And when I'm sitting here putting this back on, because I put a fresh battery in here, that little rubber ring kind of, if you don't get the threading perfectly, what happens is this. So I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see here. But like right here, sorry guys, this is a pitiful attempt to show you. But like right here is where the rubber ring gets caught up. So basically what the rubber ring is doing is it's getting bound up and it's coming out of its lane. So then when that happens, I just kind of back it out a little bit and then go back until that rubber ring kind of fits back in place. And then that kind of helps me get the cap on without that rubber ring being, getting pushed out. Because if I'm binding up that little rubber ring and it's getting pushed out of its lane, then that means that there's a gap in that threading where moisture could get in, where also like water could get in, and now you got water inside your battery housing and where the terminal is, and you got possibly damage to the electronics inside here. But what I did was I just kind of backed it out a little bit and then tightened it again, backed it out, tightened it, backed it out, tightened it. So basically I'm finessing the cap so that the rubber ring sits back in its little groove and it's not poking out. And so that's what I did, and now it's all good. But that's something you want to pay attention to. Maybe not just on this EFLX, but maybe other kind of optics that you guys have that rubber ring. You don't want to lose that rubber ring. That's important, again, for moisture, for water. It keeps all that stuff out. But if it's getting bound up like that, where it's kind of poking out a little bit, then you need to kind of loosen it and tighten it, loosen it, tighten it until that rubber ring sits back in place. So otherwise, I really like this optic. I mean, again, I'm going to zero this today. And we're going to zero this from 25 meters. I'm not going to show all that in the video, but we are going to show some obviously some footage of me shooting it. And really that's it. So again, I like this sight. I don't know, some people don't like it. Some people love it. I personally like it. I think this is a great optic. Again, it meets my kind of criteria. When I look at optics and what I like for optics, this kind of meets my criteria. Again, I'm not a fan of that 6 MOA dot. I'd rather have a 3 MOA or a 3 1/4 MOA, but again, we'll make it work. So there it is. Let's do some shooting with it. So I'm not going to run you guys through the entire zero process. If you want to know what that's like, again, you can go back to my zero video, a couple videos back, and check that out. But I am shooting, I am going to zero this on my red dot zero target that I designed a long time ago. You can find this target on the 2 Alpha Training Group website under target downloads. It is free as a PDF, and you can download it, print as many as you want. But if you want to know how this works, basically these 2 circles here, again, are for my big adjustments, just so I can kind of co-witness my red dot to my irons. But then when I'm shooting this, I'm just using my red dot, not my irons. I'm going to aim here, and I want to impact here from 5 meters. That's roughly hold off. And then once I have 2 of them, just in case this one gets too dirty with impacts, I can move to this one. But then once I think I'm in the ballpark and I'm hitting that black pasty, I'll move this out to 25 meters. And using the incremental measures here of this grid line, I'll go ahead and make my fine-tuning adjustments. But I want to get like a nice orange-sized grouping within the center, and that's how I know I'll be zeroed. All right, guys, like I said, I'm not going to run you through the entire zero process, but I am going to re-zero this red dot because, again, it's been like 4 months since I've shot it. Not that it's lost zero. I did change the battery to a fresh one, again, but that doesn't mean it's going to lose its zero just because I changed the battery. But I am going to kind of confirm zero, and then we'll push it out to 25, and I'll fine-tune and everything. And we'll see how we do. But again, the first thing you want to do is just get nice and stable. I like shooting kind of bench rested because I'm a little more stable than just standing or prone or anything like that. I'm going to take 3 well-aimed shots at that smaller circle on that target to see where I'm hitting, and I'll make my major adjustments. But if I'm in there, then I'll push it out to 25 meters. 3 well-aimed shots, again, aiming at that aim dot and then hopefully impacting on the little impact area. So let's see, 3 shots. Okay, so I'll show that to you guys really quick. So again, aiming here, I hit here. That's good enough for me because again, it was zeroed. But if my kind of groups were all over the place, then this is where I would make my big adjustments with my little tool. But since I'm kind of here and all the rounds are touching each other, I'm good here. I'm good for my major adjustments, and we'll push this out to 25 and kind of do some fine-tuning adjustments there. All right, so now the target's out to 25 meters. We're going to do the same thing, get nice and stable. And now I'm going for that big circle on top of the target there. Again, aiming middle, and I'm trying to achieve an orange size shot group. Again, bench rested, 3 shots. I'm actually going to dim this one. When you're zeroing, guys, I recommend that you dim your dot as much as you can with your lighting conditions to kind of give you the most optimized kind of side acquisition here. Okay, so that was 3. All right, so really quick, just looking at this target. If you noticed here, my shots, my 3 shots were kind of low and to the right, but I left it there, right? I didn't want to make too many adjustments from 5 meters. But then I pushed it out to 25 meters, and you can kind of see how those low right groupings translate to 25 meters, right? So just to kind of break this down for you guys, right here, this one, this one, this one, that was my first grouping. And then I went 3, or I made my adjustment, and then I went here, here, and here. That was number 2. Not bad. Number 3 was kind of ugly, so I wanted to confirm this. So 3 was just me not being stabilized here, here, and here. And then for my 4th, I didn't make any adjustments between these 2, but my 4th one was right here, 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 and here. So again, I'm really happy with that grouping. Can I shoot that again and confirm it? Yeah, but I'm happy with this. So that's what I'm going to stay with. And I would say at this point that the EFLX is zeroed on that 19X. All right, guys, so I have a brilliant idea. After almost 4 months of not shooting, we're gonna conduct an accuracy test with this EFLX. We're gonna shoot on this 6-inch bull from 3 different distances, 5, 10, or excuse me, 5, 15, and 25, 5 shots each for a total of 15 rounds. I will definitely show you the hits afterwards, or misses. This will be a good diagnostic for myself as well, just to see kind of where I'm at after all this time. But let's count this out. Okay, 5 meters. 5 shots from the draw, off the beep. I'm not going to use any kind of specific cadence, just something that I'm comfortable with after all this time of not shooting. Just something that I'm comfortable with, not too fast, not too slow. Let's see how we do. The dot's not super bright with the sun. I mean, we got full sun today, so fight through it. Okay, move back to 10 meters, or excuse me, 15 meters. One felt really low. I felt like I overcompensated. Let's go to 25 now. Okay. Let's see how we did. I know one of them, that last shot on that second iteration felt really low. Okay. Not too shabby, but there is some telltale signs here. That guy was already there. Let's count 15 impacts here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think there's actually 3 here. There is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, so 15. Those are my 5-yard shots. Nice grouping, about the size of a silver dollar. And then we start to kind of spread out a little bit, and you can tell that I'm over gripping. Now, it's been a while since now I got to kind of bust the rust and all that, but I am over gripping here big time. And I got a couple low ones where I'm overcompensating. So trying to call my shots, but also at the same time, again, a little rusty, not a big deal. Accuracy wise, that's still it's still great. I got from 25 meters, I got everything in. This was that one miss from the 15-meter mark where I just felt it being really low. So I kind of dipped that optic right at the last second. But there you go. Not too shabby for now. We'll improve obviously off that as we get back on the range more and more. The 6.9. All right, so there you guys go. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. You learned something from it. If you have any comments or questions, if you want to share your personal experiences with your EFLX, put them down in the comment section so everybody can kind of learn from that. But again, we'll be doing a lot more shooting with this Eotech. And again, if you're looking for a great optic for your pistol, one that's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, this EFLX is really nice. I do like it. I do recommend it. And I'm going to run it for a while outside of my other guns. Just to kind of give myself, some further kind of experience with the optic, and we'll see how it holds up, and if that's something you guys are interested in, then we'll do a follow-on video. Otherwise, obviously subscribe to the channel and like and share and all that stuff. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.